we'll get started. So we invoke God's grace, Puja Gurudev's blessings of our Guru Parampara as we start this Gita Jnana Yajna. So I know that you've been having this once a year, yes?
Yep.
And so now we've made it all the way to chapter 12. And chapter 12 is a very, very special chapter. It's one of my favorite chapters, so I'm delighted to be able to share this with you. How did we come to chapter 12? Where did it start? So we all know what happened in chapter 1, where Arjuna gets confused and he doesn't know what to do. Whether he should fight, he should not fight, he feels like he shouldn't fight. And in chapter 2, Lord Krishna gives him the highest teaching. And chapter 3, Lord Krishna tells him the essence of Karma Yoga. And so the Bhagavad Gita goes on this way. And then, slowly from the transition of Karma Yoga, it comes to Bhakti Yoga. And this becomes so evident, especially when we see things in chapter 9 that says, Yat karoshi yad ashnasi, means whatever I do, whatever I eat, everything is just for you. Everything's dedicated to you. And when we see chapter 10, Vibhuti Yoga, we really get a sense that this bhakti is finally flowing because it's seeing the one God in many, like how Puja Gurudev describes it. You see that one God in the sun, that God in the moon, that God in the stars, that God in the lion, that God in the eagle, that God in everything. We see that one God. And so in chapter 10, we get the idea of the darshan of Bhagavan. And then chapter 11, we see the many in one. We see Vishwarupa darshan, where we see in that one God many eyes and many hands and many legs and many heads. And in fact, Arjuna is so filled with fear and he's filled with wonder because he doesn't know how to take it. It's too big for him to grasp. And he says, please come in your Chaturbhuja form. And then please just be my friend like you were, So again, Lord Krishna has to come down to being Arjuna's friend because Arjuna just couldn't take it. So you can just imagine the gamut of what Arjuna has been through. And now he's saying, gee, I've been through so much in the Gita, and I've seen this one God described in many ways. In chapter 2, I heard that God was described as Najayate, Namriyate, Va Vipaschit, Nayam Bhutva, Bhavita Vana Bhuyaha, Ajo Nitya Shashvatoyam Purana, Nahanyate Hanyamane Sharire. Means that God is not born, that God never dies, that God is not the cause or effect. The God is eternal, permanent. And even if this body dies, that God never dies. In fact, that God is avinashi, indestructible. So in chapter 2, he saw these words, or he heard these words from Lord Krishna. Then in chapters 10 and 11, there's other descriptions of God. Like, God is the creator, the sustainer, the destroyer of everything. And God is Sarva Shakti. God is the one that upholds all dharma. So it's as if Arjuna has these descriptions of this truth as nirguna, without qualities, and then saguna, with qualities, from different chapters of the Gita. So now Arjuna brings this in front of himself and he says, now what should I worship? Should I worship this formless truth? Or do I worship this truth with form? Do I go for nirguna or do I go for saguna? In what way can I best worship God? So with this mind frame, Arjuna enters into chapter 12. Okay, so we'll start chanting. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha.
Atha Dvadashodhyayah. Bhakti Yogaha.
Bhakti Yogaha.
Arjuna Uvacha.
Arjuna Uvacha.
Evam Satata Yuktaye.
Evam Satata Yuktaye.
BhaktastvamPariyupasate.
Bhaktasvam Pariyupasate.
Ye Chapyaksharam Avyaktam.
Ye Chapyaksharam Avyaktam.
Tesham ke yoga vittamaha.
Tesham ke yoga vittamaha.
We chant together. We can start from Arjuna Uvacha.
Arjuna Uvacha. Evam Satata Yuktaye. Bhaktasvam Pariyupasate. Ye Chapyaksharam Avyaktam. Tesham ke yoga vittamaha.
So this starts chapter 12, Bhakti Yoga. Now what is Bhakti? That will become very evident in verse number 2. So when we touch on verse number 2, I'll explain exactly what Bhakti is. It uncovers it in that verse. So Arjuna says, Eva. In this way, Satata Yuktaha, means those bhaktas, those devotees who are Satata Yuktaha, they are ever steadfast. Tuam Pariyupasate, they worship you. Means they worship you in that saguna form. And then we have Ye, these other ones, Ye Cha'api, these other ones who worship you Aksharam, in this imperishable, Avyaktam, in this unmanifest form. Ke Yoga Vittamaha, who is the one who is best abiding in this yoga? Who is the one who's best abiding in this knowledge? So first, we take what this ever steadfast means. So Arjuna is carrying on the thought flow from chapter 11. The last verse of chapter 11, 11.55, was Mat Karma Krin Mat Paramaha Mad Bhakta Sangha Varjitaha Nirvaira Sarva Bhuteshu Samameti Pandavaha. Yah Samameti Pandavaha. So, in chapter 1155, we saw that those who dedicate all their thoughts towards God, all their work towards Bhagavan, who are free from all attachments, who don't have any hatred, these are the ones who come to Bhagavan. So when we say those who are steadfast, those who are satata yukta, it means those who are practicing 1155. Those who are practicing those traits in that verse. And they are worshipping you in Saguna form. And then there's the other ones who are worshipping you in Nirguna form. So now here's where we'll draw a difference, just so everyone is clear. When we say Nirguna Brahma, we are speaking strictly about Brahman. When we say Saguna Brahma, we are speaking about Ishvara. Okay? So the first difference we need to make is this. This has to be very, very clear in our minds so that we know what is being talked about here. First is, when we talk about Nirguna Brahma, it means Brahma or Brahman without any qualities. There's no qualities that we can describe Brahman with. And that's why in our Upanishads, how Brahman is described is Neti, Neti, Na iti, Na iti. Means not this, not this, not this, not this, because Brahman doesn't have any qualities. How do you describe something that doesn't have any qualities? So Brahman is strictly Nirguna. There is no quality there. But Ishvara has qualities, right? And there is a famous shloka in Vishnu Purana. It says Ishvara it has Aishwaryasya Samagrasya Dharmasya Yashasa Shriyaha Vairagyasya Mokshasya Sharnam Bhaga Itirana. So Bhagavan has these qualities of Aishwarya, glory. Bhagavan has this quality of Dharma, upholding Dharma. Yasha, great fame. Shriyaha, wealth to be able to create. Vairagya, total detachment. And moksha, the one who is ever free. So Bhagavan is described with so many pure sattvic qualities. So you have one that doesn't have any qualities. You have one that has so many qualities. Next, if we take, when we talk about Brahman, Brahman is completely nishkriya, means the non-doer, non-actor. Brahman is ever not doing anything, as though not acting in any way. Brahman is just there. But when we talk about Ishvara, Ishvara has a role, has a function. Brahman doesn't have a function. Brahman is just pure awareness, pure consciousness. We know Brahman in terms like Sat, Chit, Ananda, which we hear again and again. But when we talk about Ishvara, Ishvara's function is karma phala data, means the one who gives us the result of our actions. Now don't think it's somebody up in some sky giving us results. Okay, you get this, and you go here, and you go there. It's not that way. The results of actions come to us based on our karma. And Ishvara is just that power that oversees this, that overlooks this. It's not that Ishvara actually gives it to us. It's that Ishvara is just that power overseeing it. So in that way, Ishvara is karma phala data, has a specific function. What else? When we talk about Brahman, Brahman is just chit, just pure awareness, pure consciousness. But when we talk about Ishvara, Ishvara sarvagnya, means the one who has total knowledge of the whole world, who has total knowledge of everything. Because Ishvara, if Brahman is consciousness, Ishvara is consciousness associated with Maya Shakti. So you see the difference? One is just pure consciousness, one is consciousness associated with Maya Shakti. What else? When we talk about Brahman, Brahman is that which is causeless. Causeless. Nothing comes out of Brahman. Nothing can come out of Brahman. Brahman is not a cause. But when we talk about Ishvara, Ishvara is the cause of the whole world. Ishvara is the cause of everything. How or why we say that God is the world? Because God is the cause of the world. Very much like how we say, if we get a bracelet and we get a necklace and we get an earring, all of them are nothing but gold. And gold penetrates in and through them. In the same way, Ishvara is the cause of the world. That Ishvara is that gold, is that Shakti, which is the cause of the world. Consciousness with that Shakti, which is the cause of the world. So from Brahman, nothing comes. From Ishvara, the whole world comes. So whenever we say creator, please understand that it's not pure Brahman creating, it's Brahman with that Maya Shakti. Whenever we say sustainer, it's not Brahman sustaining, it's Brahman with that Maya Shakti. When we say destroyer, then we say it is Brahman with that Maya Shakti. So these two have to be very clearly defined in our minds if we're going to understand Arjuna's question. When we talk about Brahman, Brahman is the one that is untouched, unassociated by Maya Shakti. And Brahman is just pure Brahman. But Ishvara, because he's associated with Maya Shakti, he's Sarva Shakti, means he's all powerful. I'm saying he, but it can really be she, it can be anything. Is associated with full Shakti, which means that there's a cosmic law of God, which none of us can go against. You and I cannot change the fact that the planets revolve around the sun. You and I cannot change the fact that the dharma of fire is heat. We cannot change the fact that the eyes are meant to see and the nose is meant to smell and the fingers are meant to touch and grasp. None of us can change this. Why we say God or Ishvara is Sarva Shakti is because there's clearly a cosmic law which none of us can interfere. No matter how hard we try, we can't change it. So they're two distinct entities, but they're really one. So I want you to now put in your mind the differences so the question is understood. When we say nirguna, no qualities. So how do we get to it? Not this, not this, not this. When we say saguna, all qualities. I mean, why we have so many forms of God is because each form represents some kind of quality. And that when that quality attracts us, we become close to that God. We become connected to that form of God. One is going to be Sarva, one is Sarva Shakti, one is not associated with any Shakti. One is Nishkriya, Brahman is Nishkriya, and Ishvara is the Karma Phala Data. One is the one that is just pure consciousness, one is the total, the knower, the total knower of the totality of everything. And as I said, one is unassociated with Shakti, one is associated with Shakti. One is causeless, one is the cause of the world. So when we talk about God in Vedanta, sometimes it's talked about from the nirguna aspect, sometimes it's talked about from the saguna aspect. So we really have to be clear when the Shastra is speaking nirguna or saguna. Okay? So these two divisions are clear. So Arjuna is saying, now I've got these two divisions that I've learned in the Gita. Which one should I worship? Who is the better one? The one who worships Nirguna, the one who worships Saguna. So now Lord Krishna is getting ready to answer his question. Okay? But before he gets ready to answer the question, he says, Arjuna, first, let me tell you or explain to you what true devotion really is. Because you're asking me who's better to worship, Nirguna or Saguna. But what is worship? First, let's define what that is. Then we can go into the deep answer of your question. So we go into verse number 2.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Maya Veshya Mano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetaha Te me Yuktatama Mataha Shri Bhagavanuvacha Maya Veshya Mano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetaha Te me Yuktatama Mataha.
So Lord Krishna answers. He says, this is what it is. Mayi aveshya manaha. Ye, the ones who, mayi aveshya, in me, the ones who fix their minds in me, nitya yukta upasate, and who worship me ever steadfast. Nitya yukta means ever steadfast. And how? Shraddhaya, with faith. Parayopetaha means paraya upetaha, endowed with supreme faith. Te me yukta tama mataha. They, to me, are the best devotees. So who are the best devotees? There are 3 qualities. First is, I'm going to put it in this order. First is one that has unconditional love. So we see this in Maya Veshya Manaha. One who has unconditional love. Then we take faith. Then one who has faith, supreme faith. Then number 3 is one who is steadfast. So unconditional love is Maya Veshya Manaha. Then supreme faith is Shraddhaya Paraya Upetaha. Then one who is steadfast is Nitya Yukta. So this is defining what devotion is, and this is also defining what a devotee is. When I have unconditional love, supreme faith, and I'm steadfast, that is devotion, and I become a devotee. And Lord Krishna says, these are the best ones. These are the best first in yoga. So what's he trying to describe here? Let's take a look at each and every one of the qualities. What does unconditional love mean? What is this unconditional love? So when we think about love, where does it come from? Where does it come from? How is it that our minds think about somebody? How is it that our minds go to somebody? Maya Vesha literally means the mind penetrates to somebody. Why is it that my mind will penetrate into you or penetrate into you or penetrate into you? Because of love. If I didn't love you, if I didn't love something, my mind wouldn't even go there. Like, what does it take for your mind to go to your children? Nothing. It's automatic, right? It's automatic. Without even asking, your mind can just penetrate because there's so much love for your children. What does it take for the mind to penetrate to our parents? Nothing. It just goes there because of love. So this love comes from deep identification. When I identify with something, love comes. And when love comes, my mind is able to just go completely and penetrate to it. How so? When we meet people and when we say, oh, Hari Om, how are you? And they say, okay, I'm fine. Okay, fine. And then they say, oh, I'm from Chinmay Mission. You're from Chinmay Mission. Oh my God, love increases, right? When you meet somebody and you're new in America and you see another Indian and you're like, oh my God, there's another Indian. And you're like, where are you from, And let's say you're South Indian and they're like, oh, I'm from South India. Love comes up, right? Which part of South India? If you're from the same part as me, then we identify with each other. Then love comes up. So the more that we start to identify with each other, the more this love springs. So that's why love is there for some people more, and love is there for some people not as much, is because there's no identification yet. It doesn't mean it can't come. It doesn't mean it's not there yet. And it may mean it's not there yet. So love forms that way. We identify with something, then we love, and then our minds just go there. Like when a teenager is in high school and all of a sudden they fall in love, what happens? They cannot think, they cannot eat, they cannot sleep. All this drama comes with all this music and all this poetry and all of these things. They cannot focus anywhere because the mind is just going to that boy or to that girl. And so we always know when the grades are going low, we always ask them, girlfriend there, boyfriend there. That's the first thing we say, okay, we know what's going on, right? Because the mind cannot even study. The mind will look at the book and it can't even focus. So the mind is just thinking there. So now what's the issue? Issue is our mind's not going to God. Our mind is penetrating, it's doing an abesha, it's entering, but it's entering the world, it's not entering God. It's so unfortunate that it's not like the Gopikas who are sitting down. One day the Gopikas were sitting down and Narad Rishi was saying, what are you doing, Gopika? She said, I'm meditating. Shh, don't bother me. He said, what do you mean you're meditating? She said, I'm meditating on my kitchen. He said, why? She said, that Krishna can't go out of my head and I need to do my housework. And Narad Rishi said, wow, look at these Gopikas. Look at them. They have to meditate. We have to bring them back into the world because they're in such a godly state. We have to bring them away from God. Last night I was reading, or the night before I was reading a book on Swami Ramatirtha. And it said that he lived a divine life and sometimes he stepped on earth. But mostly he was in a divine state. And I said, look at that, my God. So there are some saints and sages that we have to take their minds and say, you need to do this, you need to do that, because they are so much reveling in God. But our thing is so unfortunate. We cannot think of God. It's hard to think of God for us. It doesn't come so easily because we haven't identified with God yet. We haven't formed that bond. We haven't formed that relationship of what God means in our life. So the first step is really forming that relationship, forming that bond of what is this God? Who is this God? And wow, what do I do with this God? And if we'd studied chapter 10 and 11 properly, then that relationship would have been formed. We would have understood that God is the creator, the sustainer of everything. If our minds are having a hard time to go to God, why? It's because they go towards our likes and dislikes. What pulls our minds are these likes and dislikes. When we like something so much, we can't stop thinking about anything else. Like I told you, like a boy falls in love with a girl or a girl falls in love with a boy, they cannot stop thinking about anything else because their minds will just go there. Or sometimes when we dislike somebody, we can't stop thinking about that person because the mind will just go there. You can't sleep, you can't eat, you can't think. That falling in love is also falling in hate is the same experience. Right? You can't do anything because the mind gets pulled by likes and dislikes. So when we say to have true devotion, the first characteristic is really this love, is we have to form that bond. First starting to form that bond. And by getting to know more and more about God, by listening to more and more of Bhagavan stories, we are able to do that. The next one is Shraddha, faith. So we have unconditional love and then faith. What is this faith? What does it mean? Your faith is a really deep thing, but the faith in God means that everything is happening just as it's meant to happen. If you remember in chapter 11, there was this verse. It said, Sthane Rishikesha. That verse means Sthane. Everything is in its proper place. Everything is exactly the way it's meant to be. If I'm feeling sorrow now, if I'm going through challenges now, it's because maybe I need to be stronger. It's because I need to learn how to grow into a better being. If I'm experiencing joy now, if I'm experiencing serenity now, because maybe it's time that I start calming down and going within and understanding my real nature. So, sthane or shraddha means every ounce of joy that I'm receiving is perfect. It's the way it is. Every ounce of sorrow is perfect. Every challenge I have in life is perfect. Everything or every person that has come to my life is perfect. There's something that I need to learn. There's something that needs to happen. When I was coming here, the person who drove me, I was telling Vidyaji and Smitaji that we ended up conversing for like 2 hours. I was mostly listening and he was talking and everything. But exactly everything that he said was exactly what I needed to hear. And I think exactly what I said was what he needed to hear. And he said to me that things come at the right time. And I said, yeah, they really, really do. If we're alert and aware enough, we know why things are coming. The thing is, we're not alert enough. So when things happen, challenges happen, we're like, oh my God, why again? Why do I have to deal with this? Why this? Why that? But if we're alert enough, we know that, yes, Bhagavan, I have this weakness, and that's why you're doing this to me. We know it.